Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of It Came from Facebook. This week's episode is near and dear to my heart. You guys know I'm an unapologetic Triumph simp. I love their bikes. I've owned many of them. I'm always going to make the case for them. I think the 3-cylinder engines are awesome. The Bonnevilles are cool. They just got a lot of cool style and panache. It is certainly one of my top 3 brands that I love the most. And we've assembled a litany of Triumph motorcycles to take a look at today. Producer Logan has picked up some of the finest examples from Facebook Marketplace. Let's check out the first one. It's a 2017 Triumph Street Cup in a rare yellow edition for $6,100. Gentleman says 5,330 miles. Color is the competition yellow and silver ice. So, you guys know, big fan of yellow bikes. I always like them. It's got the 900cc high-torque Bonneville twin. If memory serves me correctly, they made a couple variants of the 900cc Bonnie twins, the parallel twin. In the 1200 version, there's like a high-horsepower output one, and maybe this one's a bit different for the 900cc one. 100% stock, no mods, always garage covered and meticulously cared for, never dropped, no accidents or tip-overs, never ridden hard. Paint and chrome in near-perfect condition, tires and brakes in great shape with plenty of life left. Let's take a look. It looks brand new. This is something we're going to see a lot in today's episode is Triumph Bonneville people take care of their bikes really, really well. And I'm starting to come around to the idea that there's basically no reason to get a new Bonneville if the owners are putting things up like this for sale that's this clean. So this is a 2017 with 5,300 miles, $6,100. It's completely factory fresh. I don't think it gets much better than this. This guy, like he said, he kept it in the garage. I believe him. Dude, it's got the stickers on it still from the first oil that you get from the factory. It looks completely fresh and factory, and it's gorgeous. This is just a gorgeous, beautiful Bonnie. And they made a lot of variants of the Bonnie, okay? It's kind of hard to wrap your head around sometimes of all the different variants and special editions. But you can see here the Street Cup is sort of like a cafe racer style. It's got the single seat. It doesn't have a passenger seat. Lower bar kind of flipped inward a little bit. It's got the mirrors on the handlebars there. It's given that old school vibe. And this right here is my favorite thing. You see that twin analog clock right there. Triumph, if you're listening, I don't know if you are, but please, 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 please bring back the twin analog clock. That was the worst thing you did on the new Speed 1200s. The single clock looks silly, and it's not as beautiful and bejeweled as this one. I love the twin analog clock. That's a classic motorcycling thing, and I just want to keep seeing them. Street Cup in the yellow, super fresh, super nice, $6,100. You could maybe, if you really wanted to, talk this guy down to under $6,000 for this bike. Smoking deal for this thing. Beautiful bike, really nice, really unique. That's a 9 out of 10. Let's keep it moving. 2001 Triumph Speed Triple 955i for $3,000. You guys know I'm a big fan of this one. We had a green one that came up for sale a while back here in Austin. I almost pulled the trigger. Someone bought it out from underneath me, and I just continue on not owning a fun naked bike, but I think one is going to have to come back. And if I do this episode enough, I feel like I'm just going to buy a Triumph. All right, let's check it out. Great condition Triumph. 16,500 miles in the rare nuclear red color. No issues, runs great. He's moving, so it's going to be tough to bring. It's got a Corbin seat, CRG, mirrors, carbon fiber, turn signals. I don't know why it's carbon fiber in quotations. Maybe it's like a faux fiber. OEM Triumph carbon fiber muffler. Everything else is stock. Oil and coolant change and fork seals done at 15.5. Clean title in hand, never dropped, test rides with cash. So 2001 is a 24-year-old motorcycle. So, you know, it look for 24 years old and for 16,000 miles on the clock. I mean, I've seen way worse bikes than this with the similar age. This color is so cool. It's almost like a starburst pink. Can you think of anything more Y2K than this look right here, man? Like, don't you just think of like the Spice Girls and, you know, just like early 2000s vibes, man. Take us back, baby. The Speed Twin has the really cool like double tube frame thing. They've done this for forever. It's got the little fins right here. The new generation Speed Triples continue that trend. They have the same kind of, like, they've iterated on this design. Single-sided swing arm, tri-spoke wheels. Like I said, Y2K as hell, baby. These are cool, man. These are strong. They run well. They have some of the old school Triumph electronics issues. I'm sure you're going to have to check Stator on this. He didn't mention valve checks on it. Valve check on this machine probably either has been passed a little bit or is due at like 18,000, maybe 15,000 miles. I would definitely check the valves on this bike, do a thorough service on it. Tires look like they're in good shape. I love the old school Triumph logo, the triple dials right there, the chromed out handlebar. Chromed handlebars to me are so like just classic motorcycle, like, this is really nice. The Honda Hornet 919 we had for a little bit had the chrome handlebars. It's just a great touch, man. It's a great touch. And this is a great look out to the cockpit here. I bet you those gauges just like dangle a little bit as you rev it up, and just, really, really nice. This Speed Triple logo here, the nuclear red. To me, this is one of these colors that I can guarantee you got to see it in person. You know, this is a color that once you see it in person, you either love it or you hate it. Because in photos, it can, cameras sometimes make things a little more cool tone than they actually are. So this could be leaning more towards a pink, maybe towards a red. You can see here as the bodywork bends, it gets a little more red. In the sunlight, it's a little more pink, maybe faded a little bit. But it's a really unique color on this thing. Speed Triples are awesome. They will always be awesome. One of the OG Street Fighter motorcycles. I have a very big soft spot for these just because they're the big tuna that Triumph sells, and I've always liked one. I've always been kind of like scratching my head maybe to get one. Like I said, that green one came up, and I was like, man, maybe I should just do it. So for $3,000, this is a lot of motorcycle for $3,000. The Triumph market's very soft. If you guys are looking at used R6s and used Kawasaki's, you might say, oh my God, like people are trying to sell these bikes for 2x what they're worth, But I would say, as obviously a Triumph aficionado, there are fantastic gems that Triumph has made that are still reliable. They're not going to have that many electrical gremlins or weird things with them. Basically, everything post, I would say like 2010 or 2007, one of those years is when they really started fixing a lot of the stuff. Personally, for me, stick in that like 2013 to 2017 range of Triumph products. You get a great deal, and they worked out so many of the kinks. So this one, maybe too many gremlins, maybe a little too old, 24 years old. We're going to rate it a 7 out of 10. Keep it moving. All right, up next is a 2010 Triumph Scrambler 900 for $5,555. Kind of a weird pricing. 2010 Triumph Scrambler runs, rips, classic but modern. Oil changed every 3,000 miles, garage kept, title in hand, just renewed rego. Odometer's 20,000. He's got a 2-to-1 air exhaust, mustache saddle, Triumph, tail tidy, brake reservoir, engine crash guards, shorty fender, some new tires, and a new gold chain and sprocket. Ooh, we love to keep it gangster and floss up some new gold chains. A gold chain always looks good. I really love a gold chain. I had one on my desert sled that I actually no longer own. I sold that motorcycle, so I'm down to 2 bikes now. I got the Touareg and the Daytona 675 track bike. That's it. That's the only 2 bikes I got. Maybe that's why I'm salivating, thinking about another motorcycle. I want something fast for the street. I think I'm just a moron nowadays, and I'm like, why don't I get something with like 150 horsepower for the street? Anyways, Triumph Scrambler 900. These are great. We had one of these as a giveaway bike in 2020, at the back end of 2020. This is a 2010 Triumph Scrambler 900, so this is, I think, 2 generations removed from the one that we tested. So it's got the much older dash on it. The engine wasn't updated, I think, to the 900cc. This may be the old, I think it was like 865 or something. It was before they bumped it up and made it truly modern. But these are still good. It's just not the vintage that I would go for necessarily. This one, like at this point now, 2010 motorcycle is 15 years old. It's got 20,000 miles on it. Personally, for me, I would try to find something a little newer, a little less mileage. It's not to say that this isn't going to run right. It's just that kind of age and mileage for a bike that has recently gone through a nice update and is functionally the same thing, I would try to find the newer one. I wouldn't stick to an older Triumph. Otherwise, you could just go way back in the catalog and get a vintage Bonneville. But I think that these are the ones that are a little slept on, because there's the new ones that are really, really good, and then there's these ones that kind of sit in the middle somewhere. I can't remember if this one has the So the big thing about the new Bonnevilles is they have a radiator that sits right in the middle of the frame here that's all blacked out, because the new ones are liquid cooled. I don't know if this one has it or if this is still air cooled with the oil cooler in the middle here. Triumph Bonneville knowledge havers, please leave a comment down below. But the high pipe looks good. The blacked out look is cool. This helmet combo is fun with the bike. You can tell this guy probably puts on his like chocolate leather gloves with like the holes missing from the knuckles, puts that helmet on, has a couple tattoos, goes to the coffee shop with this bike. And that's exactly what she'd be doing with it. The Triumph Scrambler is a coffee shop bike, bomb around town kind of bike. It's not a highway cruiser. It's not a, I mean, it can certainly be an urban commuter. It's just a cool bike, man. It's just a cool bike that you can enjoy, be a cool guy with, and I really love them. This one, again, for some of the age and model-specific things we talked about, we're going to rate it a 6 out of 10. Keep it moving. All right, 2010 Triumph Daytona 675 going for $6,000. These are slowly creeping up in price a little bit because they haven't made them in quite some time. This gentleman says, painted in British racing green with a small custom flake, 33,000 miles. That's a lot. For the, I'll explain why that's a lot here in a bit. Spark plugs and air filter changed, oil change and new filter, tires, plenty of life, new chain around 1,000 miles ago, has a check engine light for the servo buddy. Let's take a look. First generation Daytona 675. What else can you say other than this is one of the bikes that I think has aged so beautifully well. I think that the 2009 R6, the Triumph Daytona 675, the first generation, and the CBR 600 RR from that same era. All of those bikes have aged so beautifully and are so great to look at. This has the undertail exhaust. It's just like the right size. It's so pointy. It's so narrow. It's so sporty. It's so agile. You guys know I don't need to... I can wax poetic about the Daytona for quite some time. Still one of my favorite bikes of all time. Still one of the best bikes ever. And at this point, it's probably not even that great, but it just gives me the nostalgia, gives me the... It just tickles me in all the right ways, man. British Racing Green is a classy color to do for a Daytona. This gentleman has, that's the M3 with the V8, I think. That's a good generation M3 in the back over there. So, the gentleman has some taste. Texas license plate, that's interesting. So here's the deal, though. 33,000 miles on a first-gen Daytona. We're talking stator problems. We're talking electronic gremlins. We're talking valve checks. We're talking a lot of stuff that is going to come up with this machine that you will have to endure and take a look at. I have a Triumph Daytona 675R that is track only. I've done countless mods and changes to that bike. It has been used and abused at the track, so obviously a lot of things that probably normally wouldn't have broken on that thing. But, you know, coolant lines on these are known to blow. There's a lot of stuff with the Daytona that you got to know going in, and it sucks because they haven't made these new since 2017, I think, and we're now getting to the point where they're starting to become, like, very specific collector's items. Like, you have to really understand the platform to own one. I wouldn't recommend this particular Daytona to someone who has no idea about Daytonas at all, right? Like, someone like me who knows a lot about the platform, who has worked on them, wrenched on them, knows, like, the peculiarities of how the coolant hose routes behind the frame near the engine and the thermostat is underneath the frickin' thing that shouldn't even be there. You know, that's fine for me, but I think for the average buyer, this isn't a good bet. This is certainly a specialty bike, something you'd really want to know what you're doing to get this one. So, a lot of mileage, looks really nice. It's hard to find a first-generation Daytona that looks this good. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. We're being generous today. Moving on. Next up, 2013 Triumph Bonneville America, $3,300. That's pretty good. Bonneville America is a rare bird. 2013 Triumph America with custom seat, tires at 1,500 miles, great bike, comfortable ride. No issues, just needs to make some space, fairly firm on price, willing to discuss trade. Let's take a look. Okay, so Bonneville America, if you don't know, if you can't tell obviously what they were going for here, it's yet another company taking a crack at Harley-Davidson's market share. Triumph tried really, really hard to capture that classic cruiser Americana thing. They took their Bonneville platform and they're like, what if we just made it like all cruisery. And here's what they did. They put giant bars on it, lowered the seat, gave it retro custom fenders, changed the geometry a little bit, and there you go, Triumph America. But here's the thing, this bike will absolutely outhandle nearly any Harley out there, still very capable, relatively lightweight, kind of a gem. The guys that have Triumph Americas they're kind of like free thinkers, you know? They're not all the way to sovereign citizens, I wouldn't say, but they're certainly free thinkers. And I think it's a cool bike, and the price is very reflective of the fact that basically nobody wants these things. This gentleman did not list the mileage on this motorcycle. Maybe we get a photo of the odometer. We did not. That is a bit of a bummer. It's nice to know what the mileage is on the bike. He says he has newer tires, everything looking okay on it. It looks pretty clean. I kind of like this, like, you know, light-colored leather seat, the blue and the white. Like, this is kind of a cool look for this bike. The British little battery cover there is kind of neat. Chromed out case right over there. Chromed out pipe all the way back. They're neat bikes, but they're really not for everybody. I feel like 1 out of every 100 riders even knows what these are, would even be interested in one, and the price is reflective of that, right? But holy hell, that's a lot of motorcycle for the money, so this already perks my kind of like, you know, deal barometer. I think that if you're trying to spend between $3,000 and $4,000, you want to get a cruiser. Triumph America, these come up for sale, and they are always, like, they don't move much, you know, they don't really sell too many of them because they're just not that wanted. Single disc up at the front, very cruisery. That's something to keep in mind. This bike's not going to have the type of stopping power that you would expect out of another Bonneville model. Most of them come with dual discs, if memory serves me correctly, especially nowadays, just because like they're not fast, but they're fast enough to where I think they do need twin disc brakes. But this one, you know, just arrive slow and steady to your destination. So pretty good looking little bike. Let's give it a 6 out of 10. Keep it moving. All right, 2008 Triumph Sprint ST going for $4,500, 19,000 miles. This gentleman says immaculate Triumph Sprint ST, one of the last true sport touring motorcycles made. A man of character, a man of taste, distinguished in his elements. All service up to date, sport touring tires, fairly new, zero damage or issues with this bike. Beautiful single-sided swing arms, strong engine, side luggage cases, and many accessories with a Race Tech shock, fork setup, zero gravity windscreen, Corbin seat, and more. This bike is great for touring and canyon carving. All original parts in hand as well. This has been a great road bike for me to complement my track bike. Nice. I knew this guy was a track day guy. Unfortunately, it's time to reduce my fleet. Let's take a look. Yeah, okay, so I had such a strong feeling once he started talking about how he put a Race Tech shock in the back. I was like, this is the comfortable bike that a track rat guy uses. And I have seen this so many times with like, it's like guys sort of aged like 42 to 50 at the track. They've aged out of like all the dumb crotch rocket stuff on the street. They still rip on track, but then this is the daily ride. This is the bike they're using to commute with, to do errands with, to do everything with, and they'll swear up and down that something like this is the way to go. And can you really blame them? You know, Triumph Sprint, I mean, this bike has aged really well. I mean, this design is... Look at this fella. Look at him. I knew it. This is exactly who I had in my mind. Just like some nice older man who's enjoying his sport touring bike. I love it, dude. I love this, man. This is who I aspire to be one day when I grow up. He's got the bike lift in the back over here. This guy's living his best life, man. So yeah, track rat, street-oriented bike. It's looking clean. The Triumph Sprint. It is... Yeah, like he said, one of the last kind of real deal sport touring bikes. They don't really make bikes like this as much anymore. We actually talked about how the Ninja 1100 SX is really the only bike carrying that torch. And I think it's a slept on category, honestly. Like a lot of people who are trying to do long distance adventure rides or touring, like they're just best served by a sport touring bike. Like that's all you really need. You don't need to get some bike that can have 10 inches of suspension travel and all the crazy doodads. Like, really, all you need is just like a sweet-ass sport touring bike, and this is definitely one of them. Very well kept. Check out the frame on this thing. Big, beefy aluminum thing, removable subframe. The single-sided swing arm. You know what? Honestly, this guy's got a point. This thing's really freaking sweet. And honestly, what is he selling it for? Let's see again. I forgot already. $4,500. I mean, yeah, that's every bit a $4,500 motorcycle, and it's I mean, this thing could have tons of life left in it, and you could enjoy it so much. You should probably route those throttle cables behind the clip on there. That looks a bit strange. But yeah, for the right buyer, you could go out, enjoy so much great motorcycling with this thing. Super cool listing, man. Super cool. Yeah, I'll rate this one an 8 out of 10. I like it a lot. Nice paint, too. Moving on. All right, last but not least, we have a 2013 Triumph Tiger for $3,500. This gentleman selling his 2013 Triumph Tiger 800. Great condition, makes 90 ponies and 40 mpgs, fast and reliable. 32,000 miles, new clutch and chain, registration till April, clean title. $3,500. Let's take a look. Oh, he's got the yellow beak, knobby tires, did a little bit of adventure riding with it, maybe some long distance gravel type of riding, moto camping sort of thing. He's got the crash cages, the bark busters. Man, people, so this specific generation of Triumph Tiger, I've heard so many people talk and sing their praises up and down, just mentioning how a great motorcycle it is. And I really think it's because Triumph kind of hit the mark with these kind of early, before there was this craze of like middle-ish weight adventure motorcycles. This thing was really leading the pack in a lot of ways because it had that extra cylinder, but it wasn't huge. It was big enough to where you could have some fun with it and enjoy it and really use the bike, but it wasn't enormous to the point where you're like, well, you know, like, I don't want to take it off-road. I don't want to do anything. Like, this thing can definitely dance and handle a little bit of off-road riding. Not much, though, unless you're very skilled. And this one's in great condition for being a 2013 model. Old school Triumph Tiger. Really nice bike. These have aged pretty well, too, honestly. Like, this still looks pretty contemporary, pretty fresh. This isn't a motorcycle that you would get and someone would say, oh, this is a 12-year-old motorcycle. Yeah, sure, maybe it doesn't have, like, the fanciest LED sit lighting systems or the dash or whatever, but honestly, a dash like this on a bike like this, like, since it's not that complicated, like, that's all it really needs, you know? It's not like we're talking about a super bike with tons of different rider modes and crazy electronics. Like, this thing probably has, like, traction control on or off, and then that's about it. Then you got fuel gauge, speed, indicator, tacho, analog. Very nice. Yeah, these are great, man. These are really cool. I cannot do Triumph listings, man, because I start thinking about all the bikes that I'd like to get from Triumph, and then it becomes a bit of an issue for me. Definitely becomes a bit of an issue. $3,500 for this bike is more than fair, I think. This is a ton of bike for the money. This is basically, you know, I talk a lot about the V-Strom listings and how good they are. This is those listings, but even better because you're getting an extra cylinder. It's to me, it's kind of a cooler, more interesting motorcycle than a Suzuki V-Strom. So gonna rate this one highly. Gonna rate it an 8.5 out of 10. Really like what I'm seeing. You get the rack for the top box too, which is pretty cool. All right, boys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode on Triumph motorcycles. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later.